Hi guys, welcome to this channel of Behind Businesses. We are students of business design. We'll be doing a series of podcasts where we talk about what happens behind a business that the normal customers can't see. In this podcast, me and Hanidarshan will talk about the practices that happens in pharma companies that the media doesn't show. So, hi Hanidarshan, how are you feeling today?
Hi, Shalvi. I'm feeling actually a little nervous because I know it's a first time for both of us to do a podcast. So, and like first time in front of camera and all. So, yeah, little nervous, but okay. Best of luck to both of us.
Yeah. Okay, so let's not keep this nervousness for a long time and jump to the topic.
Yeah.
So we recently heard about this news where Dolo spent 1,000 crores on doctors. So can you tell us more about this? What really happened and why is it a national news?
Yes, Dolo did spend. When IT rates happened, there was a complaint that Dolo allegedly spent Dolo 650 spent 1,000 crores on doctors. So yeah,
But that's a lot of money and it's just for their promotions, is it? And like imagine their profits.
I mean, so it was a shock. It was a shock to everyone. Some people didn't know that pharmacies do this much aggressive promotions, and few of them don't even know that doctors promote medical brands.
Yeah,
So-
because even I haven't seen doctors promoting medicinal brands. So how does this whole system actually work?
So let me start like this. Like, if you want to promote a brand, how do you promote a brand?
I think there are many ways like doing social media advertising or other media advertising.
So like imagine for an X company, like these all things they can't promote. They can't promote in any media, any social media, or any other stuff openly. They can't promote, and because they can't promote, the only way they found was that doctors, because they prescribe the medicines. They thought if we ask doctors to promote the brand, they can increase the sales, and this act of, I guess it's 1954 Drug and Magic Act, and that clearly states that any advertisement of these pharma companies are prohibited. They can't promote any use of drug.
Okay, you said drug and magic. How is magic related to like this context?
So magic in the sense it's not like magic show, those magics.
Okay.
Magic here refers to these magic here refers to these what do you call these pujaris do that stuff, right?
Okay, like mantras.
Yeah.
Okay.
The mantras, kavachas, they tie these threads and all. So
Okay.
even those you can't do it openly. Like you can't advertise openly about those.
Yeah, I think I've seen that all these advertisements in local news channels, but I have never seen it like national news or established news channels.
I mean, yeah, true. Because it's not legal to do this advertising. That's why like national channels don't show.
Okay.
But I don't know how how well the checking happens in local channels. So they might have
Okay.
been doing.
Yeah, it does make sense. So coming back to the pharmacy part, can you explain more about like how does the whole system of all these practices work?
So these pharma companies, they have these MRs. So MRs means like medical representatives.
Okay.
So they are the vital link between doctors and pharma companies. So these pharma companies, what they do is they employ these MRs, and they ask these MRs to go to the doctors. So these MRs regularly meet doctors, establish a good relationship, and then ask these doctors to promote their brand. So they'll say like promote our brand, and in return we'll give these gifts, freebies.
So this is happening openly, is it?
I mean, it's not happening openly. It's not legal, these practices, but it is very established. So every doctor knows this practice, and almost most of these doctors take these freebies, promote the brand. So yeah.
Okay. So they know about these practices and they still do, like, they know about this, but they still practice
I
it.
mean, they know it's wrong, but they still do. And like, I guess according to the Medical Council Act, it clearly states that taking any of these freebies, any gifts or pharmacies sponsoring trips or any transaction between doctors and pharmacies should not happen. But I mean, these things are there, but they do it. And I went on looking when I was researching about this. I found a survey on this itself, and it says that on the survey, the results are like this: that more than 60% of the doctors take these freebies, and they know it's unethical. On that survey, it revealed that they know it's unethical. When they asked the doctors, do you think it's ethical or unethical? They agreed it's unethical, but they still do it. And like most of them even felt that MRs do impact their prescribing. So yeah.
So you're saying this doesn't happen openly exactly, but then like Dolo spends so much money on doctors, and it's like a wide news. It's a national news. So, and I'm sure like there are other companies also doing this, other pharma companies. So is no one taking action about this?
Yeah, like even other companies do, and there was a complaint last year. I guess it across like 20 pharmacies, and Dolo got highlighted, and like Supreme Court. I think Justice Chandra, his name. So he said it was a music to his ears knowing that a pharmacy company spending this much amount of crores, 1,000 crores on promotions, and he said it's a serious case to be looking at. And he also said the Supreme Court stated that these freebies are not actually freebies. They add up to this cost of the drugs. So it is estimated that at least 20% of the prices get rising because they have to cover up these freebies and gifts.
Okay, so for example, if a drug is for 100 rupees, they put more 20 rupees on it to cover up the cost of the freebies, so-called freebies.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's so unfair because the doctors already have consultants, right? So are there any laws regarding this practice?
Yeah, like I told you, there's the section, Medical Council section, 6.8. Yeah. Under that, it clearly states, I guess that section was again in 2008. So it clearly states that no freebies, no gifts, nothing should happen. But I mean, it's unethical. They know it, but they still do it. So yeah, and I personally also talked with a doctor whom I know, and I just wanted to know how do these medical representatives approach these doctors, asking them to promote and all.
Yeah.
So he said there are these membership for them, depending on the sales. There's like gold membership, silver membership, and all. And depending on the sales they do in the given number of time, they'll get that membership. The more sales they do, the better membership they get. So it's like they set a target for them. That if you want this membership, you have to do this many number of sales.
Okay. So even if the patient doesn't really need that medicine, so if it isn't that intensity disease or disease that they have, they still prescribe medicines just to complete their target.
Yeah, I mean, that is a possibility because they need to complete their sales, like number of sales. And like I said in the before survey, MRs contacting MRs do impact their prescribing. So there we can understand that they tend to prescribe more on those drugs. So I even contacted pharmacy also, and I asked like, do MRs contact you also? Do they give gifts to you also? He said no, but the pharmacy, it's not like independent pharmacy. It is connected to a hospital. So he said doctors do get all these things. What we get is like, he gives us this particular medicine is what we prescribe, and depending on that we order those medicines.
Okay.
So they don't get, and like even another doctors told me that nowadays they're even giving cash. They don't do transactions online because
it's trackable.
Yeah, you can track those things. But whenever they need, if they want cash and if they don't want gifts and all, just give this liquid cash. So yeah, that's how it happens.
And are there any laws of if they can't put higher prices on certain medicine? Like for example, if it's like, why is it Dolo 650 and why is it in, like Dolo other?
Coming to that, the government also put this regulation where it said that any drug under 500 mg, it comes under this government regulation policy where like above 500 mg, they can put their own prices, the pharmacies. But below that, government regulates that. And that's why you see it's Dolos. Mostly you'll hear Dolo 650.
I've never heard Dolo 500. So like whenever someone talks about Dolo, it's always Dolo 650. Like if someone falls sick or has fever, we just say ki Dolo 650 le lo. I've never heard of 500.
True. And like, see, that's where the influence comes. Like you can observe how the pharmacies influence the patients. Like, no one even know that not no one, but like I didn't know, and like I'm sure many of them didn't know that Dolo 500 mg also exists. It's
most
just
of us have never heard
Dolo.
of it.
It's not even Dolo. It's
Dolo 650.
Dolo 650.
It's like the name of the medicine is Dolo 650.
The brand name itself, it's like Dolo 650. So
So like Dolo 500, Dolo 650, all of them have same chemical compounds, or like for example, same brand name, same medicine but different brand name. Do they have like similar compounds?
I mean, because the mg changes, the compound, the ingredients will change. But this brings me to another topic that it's like we heard till now, we discussed till now that brands promoting everything.
Right.
But there is another side of the story that there are these brands where they don't promote, they don't give any freebies or anything, and it's actually cheaper. Those are called generic medicines.
Okay. It's honestly a bit hard for me to hear this because we had such a long discussion about these practices that happen.
And like people are actually less aware of these medicines, that there are these medicines who sell in less price, almost like 50-60% less than the branded medicines.
Okay, but then like if it's a cheaper price, won't the quality also differ? Because usually cheaper the price, cheaper the quality.
I mean, that's what everyone thought, but Indian Medical Council insisted that every doctor should prescribe mostly generic medicines. And even in 2016 this statement was, and followed by that the next year in 2017, even our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, even he said that it would be made mandatory for every doctor to prescribe only generic medicines. And this created anxiety. Yeah,
because this, like, I can imagine this might be a blow on the pharmaceutical companies, right?
So this created an anxiety, and everyone, pharmacies and all were like, how would you ensure the quality?
Yeah.
What if the drug doesn't, work on the patient and all?
Right.
But they didn't know that the generic medicines already exist before itself. It's just that they were on some other brand. Even those are all the branded.
Okay.
But what happens generally is that whenever a pharmacy, a company creates a product, they have the patent rights for 15 to 20 years. So they can only sell that product.
Okay.
And after that, it becomes anyone can create that same product and sell. That's when it becomes generic. And like they might have used generic medicines before also, because they were less aware. They didn't know that it was generic medicine.
Right. So before like government introduced it, they already existed, these medicines, but under some brand name.
Yeah. It's just that it is under some brand name. And because it was actually said by Prime Minister, that's when they were actually aware, I guess. Like, it was in news. Yeah. That's when everyone were like, what is a generic medicine and all. So that's
but still, it's not like not everyone is aware, because even I didn't know about this generic medicines. I usually prefer, like, I just know these branded names, so like people aren't aware of it, right? Still,
yeah.
Even after these. So I think government should introduce more schemes about it.
I mean, like, actually, this generic medicine, it actually provides a key role in the reducing the cost of this medical expenditure in UK, US. And it is estimated that 80 to 85% of these doctors in US and UK, they prescribe generic medicines. And however, it is less in India. It is less than 50%.
Okay.
But surprisingly, India is one of the largest exporter of these generic medicines.
So are you saying that India failed to like promote these generic medicines or to tell its customers to use these generic medicines?
I mean, in a way, yes, because we can see, like, we are one of the largest exporter of generic medicines, but the usage of these generic medicines in our own country itself is like less than 50%, and the percent is higher in the other countries.
Yeah.
But the government also tried to introduce new schemes. So there was this scheme called Janaushadhi in 2008, I guess. So they wanted to, provide these generic medicines. So these Janaushadhi stores, what they do is like they put these generic medicines and sell. Okay. So they first aimed it to at least one store for every district. They thought. So I mean, they estimated the number would go up to 630, but eventually it was 133 or something. They managed to, and even that has reduced to 99 because they couldn't manage the stock everywhere. They couldn't get the medicines. So, and again, I guess in 2000, like after Prime Minister came, he again introduced, I don't remember the name, Bharatiya Prayojana Janaushadhi.
Okay, I think I've seen this shop, Bharatiya Janaushadhi Pariyojana.
Bharatiya. Yeah, that one.
Okay.
So under that name, they again rebranded and kept. Although this number has increased exponentially, it went up to 800.
Okay.
But again, most of the stores, they said that they will at least have 600 varieties of 600 of these medicines, but in reality, they were only selling up to 200 medicines.
Yeah, but then it's obvious for customers to not rely on these shops, right? Because if they're not selling all the medicines, I would also, like, as a customer, I would always prefer a branded medicine which where all the medicines are available.
I mean, yeah, true. I would agree, because like once they go and like if they can't find those medicines in that shop, they would have this mindset that like those medicines are not there in that store. But like, I mean, at last it is beneficial for us also. I mean, it is beneficial for us, and I feel like even I have been using these medicines, and most of the common medicines are there. Maybe you know a particular medicine, a rare medicine would not be available, but whenever I went, these most common medicines are actually there.
Okay.
And even the doctor also actually, I agree. There's like lack of this whole trust in this generic medicines. I remember the doctor when I was interacting with him. Even he said the patients were saying they don't trust these medicines and all. They have, even doctors have trust issues, but they don't know that like it is of the same compound as a branded medicine. All the checkings, all these lab equipments, everything is done at the same process, and only the shape, size, and color may differ. But the chemical compound would be the same. So yeah, it is as same as the branded medicine.
Okay, but I think this thing mostly happens with like senior citizens because they're a bit skeptical about the same medicine but with a different brand name.
Yeah, yeah. Like this reminds me one point that when I was interacting with pharmacists, I told you before. So even he mentioned this that these patients they are so believed in what doctors say. They trust doctors so much that these they go with a prescription, and whenever that prescription ka brand name is not there, you would say like there is another brand name with the same chemical compound, but they refuse to take it. They just want the same brand name, or they would go to another shop, but they won't buy that another brand.
Yeah, this actually reminded me of an incident which happened with me. So my grandmother wanted a medicine and she wanted a medicine of a certain brand. So I went to the chemist shop and I asked for that medicine, but he didn't have it. So he told me to take another medicine which had the same chemical compounds but a different brand name. So I took that medicine and I went to my grandmother. And she was so skeptical about using it. She was like, I won't take it because it's a different medicine. I tried to explain it to her, but she was very skeptical about having that medicine. So I think it's more common in maybe senior citizens.
Yeah, agreed. And like because there is lack of awareness of these generic medicines also, people tend to use it less. And I mean, yeah, I agree that government should promote professionally control these things. And like for any business, for any business, not only the idea of the business but also commercializing that idea is also equally important,
for it to be successful.
So
right. Thank you, this was a great discussion. We discussed on a lot of topics. Like it was really insightful for me as well. So I think to summarize this, I can mention down a few points. So basically, these pharmaceutical companies are unethically promoting their brand to doctors, and doctors are also knowingly falling into this trap of buying freebies or cash or from
they
them.
don't fall in a trap.
They know it.
Yeah, they consciously take the decision.
Okay, yeah, right. They're taking this decision and promoting their brands. But there are companies which are not doing these practices, which I think most of us didn't know about. So there are these companies there are these medicines called general medicines. They don't take these freebies or cash or unethical practices. But I think there's a lack of awareness amongst consumers, and I think even the government are making more schemes. But I think instead of more than just setting up these shops, I think they should have more schemes for making people aware of it.
Yeah, I mean, and it can be clearly seen there's a lack of awareness, which is why they're not buying.
Yeah, and also I think they should have more medicines in the shops because again, to gain more trust of consumers.
Yeah. Also because these pharmacy companies are like so powerful, they might also not. They might also make an efforts to not bring this generic medicines awareness to the people.
Because it'll be their loss. Right?
Yeah, so they can do that. They can influence government also.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I think it again comes to like we as consumers what we prefer after knowing these practices.
You should create the awareness, and yes, awareness is needed, and like we can conclude on that.
Yeah. Okay. So this brings us to the end of this podcast, and thank you so much for talking about these pharmacy practices that we didn't know about. And hope you guys got to learn something from this podcast. Do share this video and spread the message, spread the awareness. Stay tuned for more such videos. Until then, see you. Bye bye.